what is the positive that you're gleaning from this team aside from Sam Howell? That's
and we don't want the cop out of, well, Dan Snyder's not here anymore. All right? We're beyond that. We don't want Ron Rivera's going to be out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We all kind of will stipulate to that. What else are you seeing positive on the field? And I'll throw one in that you're going to like, Kate.
Okay.
I think Gibby has shown that he can be a factor. Now, his numbers aren't overwhelming. He has only run the ball 30 times this year for 137 yards, but it's 4.6 yards per carry.
Yep.
He also has 30 catches for 269 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And did you know he is number 2 in kick returns?
I did know that. I know he's been impactful there.
Number 2 in kick returns. So, look, it's not a huge thing. It's not super impactful.
No, but here's what it is.
Gibby's been a positive.
He's finally really being utilized as a pass-catching back, as kind of a hybrid weapon out of the backfield, which is something that wasn't really happening under Scott Turner. Bieniemy is getting him involved, not really as a running back, more as a receiver, which is kind of what people thought he should be the whole time. So kudos to Bieniemy and the staff for actually using him instead of nailing him to the bench because of his fumbling problem. Good for them.
I don't want to just all go through here and pick a guy because there's not that many positives.
Right.
It doesn't leave anybody left for the listeners.
Okay.
So I have one.
I've got one, but mine's a little bit.
But I don't want to say it because I think it's pretty obvious.
Mine is kind of unorthodox. I applaud the team and the organization for looking at Chase Young and Montez and saying, we're not paying you guys $20-some million each in the offseason. Why would we pay you losers who are contributing to a bottom 5 defense? Why would we reward you for that? We're not going to do that. We're going to ship you off to different teams, and we're going to get draft capital back in return. And for Montez, high draft capital, because you got the Bears' second-round pick. That's going to be a high pick. So I love the fact that they looked at 2 guys that were not in their future plans who now will bear some fruit coming back into the organization in the form of other players.
I don't want to taint it, but I will give a disappointment. I was expecting more from Cole Turner this year. Cole Turner has...
Why couldn't you stay on the positive?
I just was saying.
Can't help yourself.
We could do a million negatives.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I was expecting more from him.
Let's save the negatives for late December or early January.
We can go tit for tat on the negatives, round and round.
All right, let's go to, let me see. Let's go to Patrick in Fredericksburg. Hey, Patrick, what's up, buddy? You're on the junk.
Hey, morning, guys. Trying to keep the positive vibes after that bad loss this past Sunday. But so I would say Eric Bieniemy, I mean, his play calling, as much as people want him to run the ball, I mean, who would have thought like Byron Pringle, Jamison Crowder, like he's elevating people on the offense. De'Ami Brown, he's scheming guys open. Howell's looking great. I personally think he's done enough to be a head coach, whether it's for us or not. That's to be decided. But I think he's shown he's just not an Andy Reid, wannabe. He can actually play call and he can actually do well. Now, I mean, personally, I really hope we don't get the guy from the Lions. I can't remember his name, the offensive coordinator.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah. I don't want to have another year where it's like, oh, wait, how he didn't do well this year because he's trying to get adjusted to the system. Like, if it were me, I just hope we keep Bieniemy. He's our head coach, and then we hire some good defensive guy that knows how to call blitzes more than Jack Del Rio. Like, I'm just at the point where the offense looks great. Who would have thought we were going to be getting into shootouts against the Seattle Seahawks and coming down late in the fourth quarter? I mean, this isn't what the team is built around the offense. But the offense is carrying us a lot of the time. So that's my take, and I'm very positive about the offense and Eric Bieniemy. So thank you, guys.
All right.
Don't get carried away. We went through the statistics yesterday. The offense has improved, but to call the offense great is a step too far. They're not even sniffing the top 10 in any of the categories.
They're not even in the upper half. They're 17th in scoring, I think.
And right around there in yardage,
I think maybe going into Sunday's game or after, they're 2.8 points better.
What's the red zone efficiency? Because maybe that's the next step is you're able to move the ball down the field, but you're kind of coming up short in the red zone.
I don't know.
And that's maybe the next step for EB2 in year 2.
But do we think that they're coming up short in the red zone?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
Yeah. I don't know. JP can find it. Maybe that is something. I think it just took For me, my disappointment with Bieniemy, and some people are upset with me that I'm not all 100% on board. He's been pretty good, and I like his attention to detail. I keep saying over and over. I like the fact that he seems passionate about the game. Like I could tell that dude cares. Ron, to me, looks like he's checked out. Jack looks like he's checked out.
Except for last week, right? You were in on Ron not being checked out last week because he was riding high on the hog after a win.
He was kind of high on himself in some of those pressers.
Yeah.
But like during the games, the guy just looks checked out. After the games, especially after losses, looks checked out. I like Bieniemy's intensity and all that, but I feel like it took him about 7 weeks too long to really fully embrace quick game, misdirection, max protection, all the things we need to do to get this team going.
Slow adjustment.
I just thought it took him too long.
The Commanders, by the way, are 11th in the league in red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns only.
So they could get better.
They're at 58%.
They could get better, but it's not horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
They're actually better than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
Right below them.
And a lot of that is how. I mean, how many times, by the way, I don't know the answer, but it just feels like for a team that's only got 4 wins, how many times has Howell brought them back in the fourth quarter? Now, they may end up losing the game, but like
We
2-3
did it
minutes.
twice in the Seattle game.
I mean, how many times did the guy come back? Like, you got to get a score. It looks like it's going to be the last possession. And the guy does it.
Yeah, first 2 games of the year were come from behind
He's a
wins. Weren't they
baller.
trailing in the fourth quarter?
He's got the intangibles.
Yeah,
They were trailing in the fourth
He just
quarter.
does.
Team Howell. We converted him.
I mean,
We
look,
converted him.
you can't argue with the performance.
That's why
and the
Ron
stats.
keeps. That's why Ron keeps saying he puts us in a position to win
He does.
because you're never really out of it.
Yeah.
It just shows you Ron stinks.
Well,
Because they've been in
we've known
position
that
to
for a
win a few
while.
games. And as you said to Doc Walker, they're going to, it's supposed to be positive, but they're going to look back on this season as one of lost opportunities. You had to beat the Bears. You had to beat the Giants the first time.
And I
if
think
you've got
you had to
those
beat-
2 wins,
you had to beat Seattle.
you're positioned to make the playoffs.
You could afford to lose to Seattle if you had done what you should have done against the Bears and the Giants.
Correct.
All right, let's go to, let me see here. Let's go to Ben, Silver Spring. Ben, what's up, buddy?
I'm looking at the changes that are positive as being off the field. Number one, the management team, the ownership team did not panic. Like you said a minute ago, they got rid of 2 high-priced people that they may not want to pay because they think we got bigger problems than having 4 stud linemen. The second thing is, I'm wondering if Bieniemy behind the scenes maybe has some assurances from ownership that he's part of this team going forward. Because it looks to me sometimes when I watch this that Bieniemy is treating this as a 17-game preseason and that he stressed Howell out in the beginning of the season so that he could learn. Because you notice he was getting beaten in long passes. He's beginning to cope a little better. They're bringing in the short game. They're bringing a lot of players in. Bieniemy's doing evaluation, and Bieniemy looks like he's planning for the future. Del Rio and Rivera, you could tell they know they're on the way out. So my question is, how are they evaluating the defensive players? Because they're not going to get any input from Del Rio and Rivera.
I don't know. And that's kind of what I was asking Doc. Like, Doc didn't want to go there because he's still, and he's right. We got like 7 or 8 more games, whatever the hell we have. But I'm already looking ahead to the offseason. I enjoy the games, but I'm looking ahead to the offseason. And I don't know what our priority should be anymore.
Well, I would guess a defensive end is probably going to be a priority.
But shouldn't the offensive line be? We got to do all this crazy stuff offensively because we can't
That's a
protect.
priority too.
Well, what's the higher priority?
I mean, whoever they have ranked higher on their board in April is who they pick.
In a lot of ways, we've taken a step backwards.
It's funny because all anyone does is crush this team for picking defense in the draft and prioritizing defense.
And now we
and
wanna
then you're
do it
gonna
again.
now in the offseason, you're gonna prioritize
Well,
defense.
When you deal away your top 2 pass rushers, are you going to tell me they're going to go into their next draft and not address pass rushers?
I still think we need O-linemen.
I think you get a stud.
That need hasn't gone anywhere.
If you get a stud tackle, you take him.
I think that's got to be the priority.
That's fine. You could take a tackle in the first round and get some pass rush in rounds 2 and 3.
And we need linebackers, clearly.
They've devalued linebackers. Now, maybe the next defensive coordinator that comes in won't.
They can devalue him all you want. You
this
still need to
regime-
play some.
this
I saw
regime-
David Mayo running around half the game.
Aside from drafting Jamin Davis, overdrafting him, they don't care about linebackers.
Right, that's obvious. They're effing up.
Well,
Yeah, but the new regime might
they very well might.
and probably
They may-
should.
They may put an emphasis on that.
How's Rokon Smith in Baltimore,
Well,
Valdez?
he's doing pretty well.
Very good.
Exactly. So you're telling me that linebackers don't matter?
Well, I will say they don't matter, but what happens is if you take the best at a devalued position, then it's game changing.
Right.
Same thing with safety. Safety is basically the running back of the defense now,
What do
where you
they
can
list
find him a
Micah
dime a
Parsons
dozen.
as? What do they list him as?
Probably linebacker, defensive end hybrid. I don't know what he's listed as. I would guess he's probably listed on their roster as a linebacker.
Who?
Parsons.
Mike Parsons. It's weird,
Yeah,
right?
a lot of guys
I feel
now
like
just
he's
get-
a linebacker.
A lot of times they just list him as edge now.
Yeah.
Probably because you get paid more in your next contract.
Now, if they find a guy like
Depending what
Micah
you're
Parsons in the draft, if that
Oh, then you
guy's
gotta take
available,
him.
that's the guy you have to
That's
take.
one guy.
And you can get your offensive lineman in the second and third round.
I didn't know a lot about him in college. I know that he was a star and
Yeah.
everything, but he had attitude, whatever. As soon as I saw the Cowboys pick him and I saw him walking down, I just saw the look on him.
Right.
That guy's a
You said,
superstar.
he has the aura.
Yeah,
He's got the it factor.
I just saw that guy in his suit.
Yeah.
Walk, and I went, oh my God, that guy's a monster.
You said, oh, that guy's going to terrorize my
guy-
team.
that guy's
for
a
decade.
monster.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what's happened.
He just looked like mean
Yeah.
on draft day.
Well,
think he's number
Bulletin,
one.
He is mean. He punched at least one of his teammates at Penn State right in the face.
He's number one in pass rush win rate at 33%. That's something that we had been talking about. Chase Young's at 25%, number 10.
He's the only guy literally in the history of the draft that I've watched walk
Hey,
to greet
I
the
might
commissioner
look
and
at
went, oh my God,
punching-
that guy's scary.
I might look at punching your teammate in the face as a positive. Like if you're that mean and angry to your own teammate, what are you going to do to the opponent when you
Right.
see the other jersey out on the field?
Yeah, but you know who else had a silly strut to the podium?
Yeah.
Mac Jones. When he was-
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
his looked like a middle school gym teacher strut. It was weird.
He also had the viral picture of him where he looked like a big fat pig in the locker room.
well, he was a freshman back then.
He stinks on ice.
Freshman
God,
15.
I-
Defending the freshman 15.
I want those 3 hours of watching the Colts and Patriots this past weekend. I want the 3 hours of my life back. When I have the death rattle and I'm about to expire, I want those 3 hours back at the end.
Let's go to PJ.
Oh, my
Rested.
God, that wind tunnel.
Yeah. I hope Sam Howell
Hold on, was
stay
that
away.
him?
Can
Was that PJ?
practice his
Yeah, that was
passes in
PJ.
that wind tunnel, Valdez.
All right. Let's go to Patrick in D.C. Patrick.
Hey, good morning, junkies. How we doing
What's up,
today?
Patrick?
Hey, good. What's up?
Hey, so my biggest thing coming into this season, or at least one of them, was that I wanted to see more than 20 points consistently on the board. And I think that aside from a few outliers, they've done that. I love Taylor Heineke. He's my boy. But for whatever reason, we just couldn't get past that, 17, 19-point hump. But
He's
I'm
not
really
that
glad
good.
to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's
so
the most distracted caller ever.
Right.
So many beeps going off, wind everywhere.
So his positive really was about Howell.
positive was that
We're trying to come up with
they're
other
scoring
positives
more.
besides Howell.
I don't think it's just Howell. He's just saying the offense
Yeah.
in general is putting up more
Okay.
points. You
I'll
can
say
accredit
this.
it to Howell, Bieniemy, maybe the role players.
It's weird because he's probably like 33 years old. I'm guessing. Maybe I'm wrong. But Jamison Crowder's been a great addition.
He's been
And
definitely
I
has
would like
been.
to see him next year. Like he's contributing on offense. He's given us some life in the punt return game where
Yep.
we haven't had that in years.
He had a bad drop against Seattle, but that's minor.
True, but he's contributed way more than you ever thought.
He has. That is true.
But I'm guessing he's 33. Is that a
Yeah. Let me say this about the offense. I do think it has improved. We went through the stats yesterday. I just looked at this now. They've played in 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
They've only been over 21 points in 5 of them. So 5 times 21 or more, 5 times 20 or less, and in a couple of them, they haven't even gotten double digits.
Crowder's
They've
at-
had duds.
Crowder's 30.
He's only 30. Okay, so
30
we
years
could get
old.
like I think Crowder could play another 3 years.
Probably
if he stays healthy.
Yep.
That's why I think I'm not as like
Right, it's a mixed bag with
all-
Bieniemy.
Yeah, that's why I'm not like all in on Bieniemy because I think he's been spotty. He's been good at times, but also not so good. But it's a learning thing. So he deserves a learning curve, right?
And to his credit and to Howell's credit, sometimes they'll like, what did they have? 9 points, 6 points in the first half this past week, and then they get hot late.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes because of the circumstances. But there have been a lot of times where they've trailed games, and I was like, whoa, man, that first half they didn't do anything.